Hey guys, and welcome back to Clannad. So, we are almost done with this. Let's just jump right back in. I was holding some luggage with both my hands as I arrived at KOTOMI'S house. White paint, thinner, varnish, paintbrush, wire brush, paper rasp. I woke up at 8 in the morning and went to the paint shop to buy these. I told the shop owner, I want to paint a chair in the garden, and then he thoroughly taught me how to do it and arranged the necessary things. Of course, I prepared myself a change of clothes and army cotton gloves. I thought about this and that when I came home last night, and then I decided. I won't hesitate any more. I'll do everything I can. From now on, that's what I'm going to think. That alone has merit. That's what I believed. The garden from yesterday. As expected, it's not possible for grass to grow thickly overnight. But when I look at it with with a steady eye, I can see that it was quite rough work. I think I have to think about how to do it properly if I want to make it in time for Kotomi's birthday. I move the chair and the table to the corner of the garden. I look at the condition of the table. In my memory, it was painted with a dazzling pure white. The coating right now is loose, and the surface is showing off some red and light brown rust here and there. I use the wire brush and scrape off a lump of big rust. The paper rasp becomes covered with fine rust. I smear some proofing on the unprotected metal. I was immersing myself into working. It took me around an hour to finish giving the table some rust proofing. While letting it dry, I began working on the chair. I thought I was happy it was small, but its shape was so complex that it took some time. I did the same thing to the next chair, scraping it with a paper rasp and painting it with rust proofing. I decided to trim the garden tree and the hedge before letting the chairs dry. I positioned the shears around some branches and applied some force into it. With a fine snapping sound, thick, lush, green leaves fell on the ground. I was working my way near the edge of the garden. Whoops! Something hit my tiptoe, and that immediately made me adjust my stance. I thought that was a stone, but it was just a dirty black brick. It was buried in the ground together with weeds in a circular pattern. I see. As if as if thin skin falling out. I started to remember again. This was the flower bed. It was blooming with multicolored flowers as if it was scattered around. I look at it as if looking at a city that was destroyed long ago. I gently separate the overgrown weeds with both my hands. A small earthworm suddenly ran away from the sudden light. The rust proofing has dried up, and it was finally time to paint. I removed the lid of the paint can and dripped the paint brush on it. The paint, heh, still having trouble reading. I painted it repeatedly to make sure as much as possible that it's not inconsistent. The sky is clear. It's a good day for painting. It makes me want to whistle. I didn't imagine myself painting at a garden on a Sunday. The leg's rust proofing hasn't dried up yet, but it felt quite good to have its pure white color returned with new paint. If Kotomi comes too, it would surely be fun. But she might be only nothing but a burden. The only thing I see is Kotomi tripping over the tools, drenching her clothes with paint. There's no need to be impatient, so I think, because the chance to garden with Kotomi will someday come. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I finished painting up the chair and the table. I worked it out carefully, so I'm quite impressed with the result. I'm quite good at this too, huh? I want to quickly return this garden to how it used to be. And for that reason, I learned some gardening tips. I was happily gazing at the pure white chair when my stomach grumbled. I decided to go in front of the station to have a meal. Kotomi, are you eating properly? I try to call her on her second floor window. Of course, there is no response. It would be good if she's hiding somewhere, looking at me. I'll be going out for a while, but I'll be back again, all right? You should eat too. I changed out of my paint-stained clothing. It was the same as always for this city. The bustling people and the exhaust fumes of cars. From signs to displays, a dizzying flood of sights. I look like I came from another world, from the smell of the earth, the grass, and the paint. I drop in the bookstore first. I stand for a little while in the gardening book corner. Even a single page is filled with useful information. Just as I thought, the way I sharpened the shear yesterday was completely wrong. To make it worse, that shear isn't for mowing, it was for maintaining the hedges. Cutting the lawn at random is no good. Looks like I have to fix the damaged things first. I'm no good at all. I stayed dumbfounded for a while. I bought a beginner's manual for gardening as well as a guide on how to flower a garden. And then I went to the usual fast food restaurant. I took a seat and ordered a hamburger coffee set. From there, I make a list of the necessary things and procedures from the books. I realized that the sun was about to set when I returned to the streets. I head to the bank's cash machine and withdraw all of my savings. I saved this money when I was desperately trying to leave the house a long time ago, but in the end, I didn't get the chance to use it and had forgotten about it myself. I felt grateful for being wild back then. Next is the home center, huh? It's a bit it's a bit of walking distance, but I don't have much time right now. So I decided to ride the bus. As I hurried to the edge of the street, my eyes turned towards the bench from the other side. Sitting there were three uniformed girls from my school. Thinking, how could there be school on Sunday? I realized today is school foundation day. I wonder what Furukawa and the gang are doing. As I think of that, one of them heads towards me.
岡崎さん？あんた、なんでこんなところうろついてんのよ。
Hey, what are you doing in a place like this? Huh? So it's you guys? Even though I rushed up to them, the three didn't stir an inch, remaining seated. They looked strange somehow. There's a familiar violin case placed at the edge of the bench. That's the violin from a while ago, right? Did you borrow it again? No one replied. I realized that the case looks strange. The hinge of the lid cover is gone, and the snap fastener is bent too. I lift it up and open its cover. Whoa! I suddenly gasp. The violin was divided in two. The bracket supporting the strings and the gourd-shaped body were torn apart. It was completely broken, and its plank is filled with scratches. What the hell happened here? I didn't receive an answer. As I was about to ask one more time, Kyou, who was looking down, answered,
プレゼントするつもりだったのよ。
We were
琴美に。
planning to give it to KOTOMI'S as a present. I listened to her explanation and tried to understand the situation. These girls seemed to be giving their best, too, doing something different from me. They must have searched for the real owner of the violin, with some help from Nishina of the choir club.
今日やっと元の持ち主に連絡がついたのよ。
And we had finally contacted the real owner, too. As expected, the real owner, a former member of the music club, left the violin at the school and had forgotten about it.
それで、もう使わないから好きにしていいって、正式に譲ってもらえたのよ。音楽部にもきちんと話をつけたし。
She told us, I won't use it anymore, so do what you like with it, and formally gave it to us. We also talked about it with the music club. I bet these three were overjoyed that they had decided to polish the violin.
西名さんに相談したら、一度きちんと調整してもらった方がいいって教えてくれたんです。
When we talked with Nishina-san, she had suggested that we tune it properly one more time.
それで、3人でお金を出し合って、楽器屋さんに持っていこうって。
And then the three of us brought money to a musical shop. Furukawa and Fujibayashi probably were really happy about it. Both of them taking along their new friend, the violin case, while nonchalantly crossing the pedestrian lane. And there, suddenly a motorcycle crosses the red light. Furukawa and Fujibayashi manage to avoid it in time, but the violin case sprung up and by chance the lid cover opened up, and then the violin fell to the road surface.
言っとくけど、悪いのは 100% あのバイクのやつだからね。部長も寮も何にも悪くないんだから。
I'll be saying this, but it was definitely the motorcycle's fault, all right? It's not Miss President or Rio's fault or anything. Even Kyou's follow-up was futile, as the two of them felt depressed from their misery. What about that motorcycle?
追いかけたけど、逃げられたわ。
I chased it, but it got away.
せめて手元に鉄パイプがあったら、ホイールにグイって刺して転ばしてから、バイクもろともボッコボコに殴ってやったのに。
If I had just had an iron pipe in my hand, I could have sent its wheel tumbling and beat that rider to death along with his bike. Wait, it would be murder if you go that far.
向こうだって信号無視で殺人未遂なのよ。このぐらい当然よ。
He attempted murder by passing the red light, you know. This is just natural. Moreover, I don't want to imagine a situation where you're holding an iron pipe.
ほっときなさいよね。
Oh, leave me alone. But anyway, the strange joke didn't continue, and like that I look up at the sky. Before, a bus, this time a motorcycle, huh? Misfortunes are piling up one after another in such a crucial time.
すみません。
I'm sorry.
私たちがちゃんとしてれば、こんなことにならなかったんです。
If only we paid more attention, this thing wouldn't have happened.
あんたたちは責任感じすぎよ。いい加減落ち込むのは終わり。
You two take too much responsibility on yourselves. Now, stop being all depressed now. Well, I'm glad no one's hurt.
本当よ。もしものことがあったら、プレゼントどころじゃなかったんだから。
That's true. If it had happened, it wouldn't be a present at all. Kyou cheers up and both Furukawa and Rio finally raise their heads. Have you tried letting the music shop look at it? I point at the violin case as I ask that.
だから困ってるのよ。
That's why we're in trouble. Disappointed, Kyou murmurs.
さっき、そこの楽器屋さんで修理できないかどうか聞いてみたんです。
We went to that music shop earlier and asked if they could fix it.
そしたら、楽器屋さんとお姉ちゃんと喧嘩みたいになっちゃって。
But then, well, the shop owner and One-chan ended up quarreling.
あっちが悪いのよ。人が困ってるのにつけ込んで、新しいのを売りつけようとするから。
He is the one who's at fault. He's trying to take advantage of people who are in trouble, forcing us to buy his new one. That special bargain 140,000 yen one? I ask that as I remember the violin from the show window.
修理するなら確実にそれ以上かかるって。
If he repairs it, it would be more assuring. Just by repairing, huh? Even with the savings I withdrew right now, it still wouldn't be enough.
新品買わせたいから適当なこと言ってるのよ。決まってるわ。
He's saying that because he wants to sell his new stuff. That's usual. She's saying it strongly, but an amateur like me understands it too. If it's broken like this, it would be faster to buy a new one. It's natural that he'd advise it.
わかるでしょ？1億円のバイオリンだって何の意味もないのよ。
You understand, right? Even if it's 100 million yen violin, it would be meaningless.
琴美にはこれでなきゃダメなんだから。
Besides this violin, nothing else would do for Kotomi. All of us became silent again, because everyone knew that what Kyou was saying is true. Kotomi had really taken care of that worn-out musical instrument, even though it was just a few days. If she was told that it was broken, I wonder how she'd feel. I don't even want to think about that.
本当にどうすればいいのよ。
What should we really do now? Kyou muttered and kept looking at the ground. We're going to say don't give up. Don't give up. That's what I said. Kyou, Furukawa, and Fujibayashi all looked at me. It's not like it can't be fixed anymore, right?
でも、楽器屋さんは 難しいって言ってました。
But the shop owner said it would be difficult. Anyway, let's go there again. I carefully lift the case that has a loosened cover. To fix or not to fix? Wouldn't it be just too cruel to just leave it like that? Such words came out from me naturally. The problem isn't the result. If we don't do what we can now, we'll surely regret it. I put my hand on the scratched violin case that was in Fujibayashi and Furukawa's hands.
私たちに持たせてください。
Please, let us carry this.
もう絶対に落としませんから。
We'll make sure not to drop it again. I nod and let the two of them carry the case.
仕方ないわね。
I guess it can't be helped, huh?
わかったわ。私ももう一度戦う。
All right, I'll go as well and fight one more time. No, you can just stay quiet and not fight, please. Our smiles return with the usual conversation. I suddenly remembered what I was planning to do. That's right, this should be fine. If these girls don't smile, that would make Kotomi even more depressed. The shop owner is as stubborn as Kyou.
入門用ならもっと安いのもあるし、値引きもすると言ってるんだよ。なぜそれにこだわる必要があるのかね。
I told you already, in a case like this, it'd be a lot cheaper to just get a new one. Why do you need to fuss over that?
でも、このバイオリンでないとダメなんです。
But, it has to be this violin no matter what.
とても大事なバイオリンなんです。
This is a very important violin. Fujibayashi and Furukawa are desperately trying to explain.
大事にしていた割には手入れが悪いようだけどね。
Comparing to how important it is, it's much worse than repairing it.
こっちだって事情があるのよ。知りもしないくせに。話しなさいよ。あんたどっちの味方なのよ。
We have reasons too. You just don't have any idea. Hey, let go of me. Which side are you on anyway? Whatever, just stay quiet there. I desperately try to leash Kyou, who seems like an angry dog that wants to bite someone.
これはもらい物で、もともとは持ち主が違って。
We actually got this from a different owner.
あさって大事な友達にプレゼントするんです。このバイオリンのことがとても気に入っているんです。
It's our present to our precious friend the day after tomorrow, and she'll be really pleased with the violin.
プレゼントするならなおのこと。素性のはっきりした楽器をおすすめしたいがね。
If it's about a present, then I would advise to go with a highly branded musical instrument. He opens a catalog and points at a violin for beginners.
ほら、これなら値段も手頃で。
Look, this one should be cheap but handy. Furukawa swings her head plenty of times to his explanation.
他のバイオリンでは意味がないんです。
It'd be meaningless if it's a different violin.
修理代はきっと私たちで何とかしますから。
We'll surely do something with the cost of repairs, so
お願いします。お願いします。
please, please. Almost an hour had passed, and we're repeating the same argument over and over. And then, finally, the shop owner gave in.
そこまで言うなら、預かって見積もりしてもいいがね。
If you're going to say that much, then it's all right to leave it to me, and I'll estimate its repair cost.
仮に修理するとしても、あさってまでにはどうやっても間に合わないよ。
Even if I manage to repair it temporarily, I won't be able to make it by the day after tomorrow. Is that fine with you?
どのぐらいかかりますか？
How much time will it take?
早くても2ヶ月はかかるだろうね。
Even if I make haste, it would take 2 months.
遅い。2日に負けて。
That's too slow. Beat it in 2 days. That's impossible. And would you keep quiet?
それに、修理できたとしても、前の音には戻らないだろうね。
And also, even if I managed to fix it, it might not have its previous sound.
もちろん、引き受ける以上、ちゃんとした工房に依頼はするがね。ここ
Of
まで
course,
ひ
I'll
どい
take
と
it
な
to
ると、
a good workshop.
どうにも。
But if worst comes to worst, then... He looks at the broken violin with a face that has given up. No one could say anything. The surroundings were already dark when we came out of the store.
ああ、もう腹立
Ah, jeez! He pisses me off! Kyou is still
つ。
angry.
何が前の音には戻らないだろうねよ。自分が一番詳しいような顔しちゃって。
What the hell's with? It might not have its previous sound, with a face that looks like he knows it all. Of course he knows it. He runs the music shop after all.
店主があんなじゃ三流に決まってるわ。他にもお店があったら絶対そっちに行ったのに。
That kind of shop owner is no doubt third rate. I'd definitely go to a different shop if there are others. Don't be ridiculous. But I am all out of time for this episode, guys, so if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. So, bye-bye!